Welcome to Connect. I'm Owen Wild, and I'm part of the marketing team here at NCR's Banking. And I'm really excited to kick off this series of podcasts. One definition of Connect is to join together so as to provide access and communication. And that is exactly what we're seeking to do with this podcast series. The world around us is changing rapidly in every area, and banking technology is just one of those areas. So if you're like me, your inbox is filled with newsletters and blogs, solicitations for the next best thing. And if you scroll through social media, there's an abundance of news, press releases, comments, complaints, and some conspiracies. There's enough of that already out there already. These Connect podcasts are not out to change the world, and they're not even out to sell you something. They're definitely not out to change your mind. But what these podcasts are is about sharing information and communicating trends and shedding light on what NCR is hearing from our customers around the world. So even though this is a podcast for now, we want this to become an interactive channel. We want you to join together and become part of this. We want to hear from the listeners and hear from you about what you want to hear. What are the questions you have? What are the challenges that you're facing and the goals that you have for your organization? We've made it really easy for you to connect with us. Email us at, wait for it, connect@ncr.com. Again, really easy, connect@ncr.com. And that's going to be the mission of this. So hopefully you can make this part of your routine. So take a listen while you're on a walk, while commuting to work, or just take 15 minutes out of your day to get some perspective and engage with us. Give you a little bit of idea of what we're going to talk about in Connect. So the space is wide, but Connect is going to focus on the world of self-service banking. We're going to focus on the use of technology that extends the ability for consumers to conduct banking transactions using physical endpoints. So this is a bit different from digital banking, and this is different from a lot of discussions on fintechs and banking apps. So over the next upcoming episodes, we're going to be covering topics that include the consumer branch interaction and trends. What's going on with consumers' utilization, and more importantly now, when is a branch not really a branch anymore? Or looking forward, what really is the future of a branch? Other topics are going to include a focus on options for outsourcing, looking at when you should consider outsourcing parts or all of your ATM operations. We want to stay close and provide guidance and information on industry standards, things like Nexo and other industry standards, and how these are going to impact ATMs and ATM transactions. This is only a short list of what we have planned. Again, this topic flow and these content items, we'd like to have input and be driven by what you want to hear about. So again, connect@ncr.com is the way for you to reach us with your comments, your questions, suggested topics. Want to jump on board and provide an interview with us and tell us a little bit about what we're doing? We're all for it. We'd love to get that engagement with you going. So before we start really into some of the topics, I want to spend the rest of this episode to provide a little bit of context about the world of ATMs. So according to a recent report by RBR, there are about 3 million ATMs that are in operation around the world. And this was back around the end of 22. And it hasn't changed dramatically really over that time. So 3 million endpoints. Let's put this in perspective about the prevalence and about the location and proximity that most individuals have to an ATM. So again, about 3 million ATMs around the world. Putting it in perspective, there are about 21,000 remaining phone boxes in the UK, and there's really only around 100,000 of them left in the United States. So again, 3 million ATMs compared to about 100,000 phone booths. Let's compare it to something that we think is extremely prevalent and pervasive around our world. There are only 36,000 physical Starbucks locations around the world. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go into many cities where I travel, it feels like there's about half of them just on a quarter of, 4 or 5 block location. But 36,000 Starbucks. ATMs need to be considered in a similar way that you would consider vending machines. There are around 15 million vending machines worldwide. So again, the 3 million ATMs are more commonly in the frame of reference of the physical proximity to a consumer might be to a vending machine than a phone booth. ATMs need to also be discussed with its impact in the same economic view as vending machines. Vending machines generate close to $30 billion US in revenue per year. Globally, there's approximately 35 ATMs in place that service 100,000 people. And when you look at the trends of utilization, people use ATMs a lot. Going back to 2020, there were over 48 billion ATM transactions made worldwide. That's an average of over 131 million transactions per day. Again, let's put it in some comparison. When we think of consumer interactions where there's a high level of transactions, Amazon ships fewer than 2 million packages per day. Okay, again, 131 million ATM transactions, 2 million Amazon transactions per day. Going to broader scale, Alibaba in China does 6 times of Amazon's level. That's 12 million per day. But both of these are less than 10% of the volume of transactions that are processed by ATMs. So what are consumers doing at these ATMs? Cash withdrawals make up the majority of these transactions currently, but account balance inquiries and cash deposits are coming in second and third place respectively. And yes, even though the mix of cash use is changing globally, today results show that a substantial of the population continues to use cash to make everyday purchases and to hold cash as the stored value that they carry. So globally, 20% of all transactions that are made are done using cash. And this varies greatly by country. If you look globally, Malta led the group of countries in proportion of their cash to non-cash transactions in 2017. 92% of all transactions in Malta was carried out in cash. Other Mediterranean countries also saw high transaction rates. Cyprus and Greece were both close to 90%, and 1 in 5 transactions in Sweden are done with cash. So when you think about ATMs as a cash dispense function, yes, that is a critical component of the world's global economic traction, but it's only one layer of the evolving story. So with the advances in the technology, the ATM now has more capabilities. So currently, the use of ATMs as a means of depositing cash is increasing. The ability for banks and financial institutions and other retailers to market and sell products via a self-service endpoint is now possible and growing in its utilization. And the whole definition of a self-service transaction is changing, with now the ability to have live interaction with bank personnel and bank tellers while utilizing self-service endpoints is becoming a real and viable commercial model. All of this creates new opportunities and, unfortunately, some new challenges. And this is the world that we're going to discuss in the upcoming episodes of Connect. In Connect, we'll bring forward trends. We can talk about possibilities to use self-service in ways that'll help you transform your engagement with customers. We'll discuss the challenges and the risks from operations. And again, we want to know what you hear. We are listening. Send us your ideas and your questions and issues that you'd want to learn more about, and connect with us at connect@ncr.com. We look forward to bringing you the next episode and look forward to the journey and the future components of this podcast series. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, take care.